Ever wanted to create your own online course for an audience, but didn't know where to start? Perhaps you've even taken a step further, doing a quick Google search about how to launch your own course and discovering platforms like Kajabi and Teachable. A quick look at their pricing shows that these platforms can cost $60 or more per month. This can be a lot if you're just starting out. Like many others interested in creating a course, you need something lightweight and user-friendly that you can get started using right away without spending a fortune. And I've built exactly that system inside Notion. The Course Creator is a modular course builder in Notion that lets you build a structured framework for your course in minutes, literally. Course creation begins with making a lesson plan. What do you want to share with your audience? After a lesson plan is made, you start with a course template, which you will use to build your course. With its simple interface and intuitive buttons, you can quickly create your course's sections, modules, and lessons. After finalizing the layout and initial structure using the builder, add your knowledge, resources, and lesson content. Finally, add your custom covers for a polished finish, and you're done. The only thing left is to share it with your audience. So in this video, I'll walk you through step by step exactly how to use the Notion Course Creator to build your very own courses and share them with your audience. Before you can begin building any kind of lesson or course, you need to have a plan. So the Course Creator in this tutorial is a modular course builder and uses a section, module, and lesson structure. I've put together kind of a flowchart to show you what I mean by this. So on the left here, we have sections at the top, then you have modules, and then lessons for each of those modules. You can see the same thing here on the right, just a different way of viewing it from left to right rather than top to bottom, but it's the same structure nonetheless. So this kind of course structure is just a simple and effective way of structuring your course. So my course plan for this example will look something kind of like this. So the course that I'm going to create in this kind of tutorial demonstration is going to be around Canva, which is a popular design tool. I'm going to have two sections, one something on Canva basics, and then a second section on design principles. In Canva basics, we're going to have two modules, one for getting started. And so this will be kind of introductory videos and lessons, and then one on creating videos. And then this will have different lessons within that module as well. I'll have another section for design principles, and then the module will be design elements, and then go break it down even further into tinier lessons. So one on lines, spacing, and colors. You can pause the video if you want to take a deeper look at this plan before we get started. Once we have made our plan, we can come to our course creator page. When you begin with the course creator, you will start on this main page here, and this is where we can begin to build new courses. So we can start by creating a new course by clicking on the new course button here. So the idea behind how this works is that we create a course template and fill it with all of our resources. So we can then copy this template multiple times for different students. Whenever we need to make changes for our course, we can just edit the main template. So for this tutorial, we are going to create a brand new course template. So here we can either just duplicate the course template here, or we can just edit the sample one here. For this tutorial, we're just going to edit the sample one that we have here. We're going to click on edit, and then let's full screen this here. Okay, now let me explain briefly what we have on this page. On the left, we have a database planner. On this page, your three main databases, sections, modules, and lessons are located. So if you ever get stuck or confused or make a mistake, you can easily edit any of your database entries here. Once we fill out our example template with our lessons and resources, I'll show you again kind of what this looks like. We also have our course progression on the left here, which our students will use to keep track of their kind of lesson, module, and overall course progression. And then we also have a view for all of our course sections as well. What we really care most about is this new section button in the center here. We will use this to build out our entire course. So first, I'm going to copy a screenshot of our course plan so we can see what we have to do a little bit better. So just going to take a quick screenshot here. We'll come over to course, and then we can just maybe copy this down here. Okay, great. So we can see our course structure here. So to get started with creating our first course is by clicking on the new section button. Here, a new section will be created. Let's give our new section a title. We're going to call this Canva Basics. Now we can add a description to our section if we want, but we're going to scroll down here and we're going to create our 2 modules as per our plan. So I'm going to click on create module. I'm going to click on it one more time, and then I'm going to close out our section page here. Okay, so this new section button created a few things for us. It first created a new section, which went down into our sections database, but it also gave us a title here, which actually we can call Canva Basics. It also gave us a linked view of all of the modules. So the next thing we need to do to set up our modules here under our Canva Basics section is just to set the filter to show the modules only for this section we created. So we'll click on section here, click on Canva Basics, save, and then we can hide it. If that looked a bit confusing, I've also included instructions on how to set the filter right here, but we've already done that, and so we can delete this here. Great, and so now we have a section called Canva Basics, and we have 2 modules. So as per our plan, we have Canva Basics and 2 modules. Let's set the title for both of our modules. We have Getting Started and Creating Videos. So I'm going to edit the title here, and this will be Getting Started. And then we will set the second one, and we'll call this Creating Videos. Okay, wonderful. Let's look back at our plan here, and you can see that we have a second and last section called Design Principles with a single module called Design Elements. And so let's do the exact same thing we just did for our second section. So we'll click on New Section button again. This will create a new section for us, and we're going to title this, what are we titling it? Design Principles. Okay. Design Principles. Okay, there we go. And then we will create a new module here. New module. I've also included instructions on how to do this in this callout box. Let's close that there. And now this section button has again created a new title and a new linked view of all of our modules. But you can see here that we see 3 modules here. That's because this linked view is showing all of the modules. That's why we have this instruction to set the filter to the current section. So we'll go to Filter, go to Section, and we will click on Design Principles to only show the modules tagged to our section. Okay, click Save, hide this, delete the callout box, and then we will give our section a title. Call this Design Principles. Great. And on our plan, our module is called Design Elements, so we'll give that title as well. Let's go here. Design Elements. Okay, you can see now that we are done creating our sections, and we are also done creating our modules. So let's clean up our main page here. We can delete this callout box here. We can also delete our image. Okay, great. This button, we could delete it. However, later, if we do need to make more sections, we want to have it handy and available. So for now, we could just hide it in our settings by dragging it over here. And so it just takes it out of view. Great, so now we're done with our sections and modules, and it's now time to start working on our actual lessons. So let's go into our first module, Getting Started, and this will bring up the module page. So let me briefly explain what we have on this module page. We have a property for uploading a cover. So cover can help make your course look a little more aesthetic. There are some sample ones here, but we can just delete these later. Let's hide that back up. We also have a backend. And so the backend, you can just keep this hidden. This is more so kind of link sections to modules and to our progression tracker. So we can hide this. And then we have a completion bar and description. So when you're making your course, you can kind of take the time to add in your description here. Okay, we'll skip these for now and let's scroll down a bit. We're going to focus on making our lessons. And so here we have a button for creating lessons. If we click this button, it's going to create 3 sample lessons for us. So let's give these lessons some titles based on the plan I kind of laid out earlier. So this will be Introduction to Canva. We have the second one as, what do we have? Timeline Basics. And then I think this was simple sharing. Simple sharing. Great. Let's now open up one of these lesson pages and I'll kind of explain how to add our lesson resources. So at the top here, we have a property for you to add in the amount of minutes each lesson is expected to take. We have a completion checkbox. We also have a backend again. You can keep this hidden. We have a lesson description, and then any files that you want to include in your lesson as well for your audience to download. In the actual page content, we have a section for a lesson overview where you can kind of provide an overview of the entire lesson, some bullet points for lesson objectives. And then down at the bottom here, this is an area where you can embed or upload a video for your lesson. If your lesson doesn't have a video and it just has written content, well, then you can either delete this or change the title and just add in any content you want directly onto this content page. Then at the bottom here, we have a button for complete lesson. All this will do is select the checkbox up here. Okay, I'm now going to speed through all of this and add in all of my lesson information. So this will be a lesson overview, objectives, and then I'm going to embed the video. All right. Okay, there we go. Just three things: lesson overview, objectives, and then I've embedded a video. So it's just about going through each of your lessons and then adding all of your materials. So then you would go through the same thing again, going into timeline basics, and then adding in everything once more. Once we are done adding in all of our lesson content, we can then add in a very short description here and the amount of minutes each lesson might take. Now that we have finished all the lessons, it's time to clean up this modules page and make it a bit more presentable for our audience. We're going to add a description. We're going to remove any unnecessary blocks. And then lastly, we'll add a nice cover and icon to it. So we'll come and remove these blocks here. We don't need this anymore. If we are done creating lessons, we can also remove this button here. Let's add in a nice description for our audience. There we go. And I'm going to add in a cover. So I'm going to come over here. We're going to delete these sample covers here. Delete this, delete this. I'm going to add in my own file, maybe right here. Okay. And then we've added our cover. And then let's change the icon as well, maybe to play button. There we go. Getting started. All right, let's go back home and see what this looks like. Now we can see our module getting started is finished. We've added in lesson content. We've cleaned up the module page. We've added a custom cover. And now the next step is to add lesson content to the rest of our modules. Great. And there we have it. Once you add in all of your sections, your lesson content, module descriptions, covers, things like that, you are then done. So let's take a look at our database planner once more. Now that we have all of our modules and lessons in here, you can see that we can now view all of our sections, modules, and lessons this way. So if you prefer looking at, well, tables and databases, this may be a faster way to actually plan out your course. So let's go back here. So once we are finished with our course, we can then delete this database planner. Since we will be sharing this course with our students, we don't really need them to view the database planner, so we can delete this here. Anything else we need to clean? Oh, and then the last thing we need to do is, well, to add in a cover. Okay, so let's add in our cover here. Click on upload. All right, we've added our cover. And of course, we can't forget to add a title to our course as well. Let's call this Mastering Canva for Beginners. Can't spell. Okay, there we go. And that's all it takes to create your very first course in Notion. Now let's learn how you can actually share this course with your audience. We're going to come back to our home page here. We don't need to click save or anything. The template automatically saves. We're going to come down here and we're going to create our new course. So we're going to click on new course again, but this time we're going to click on our Mastering Canva for Beginners that we just created. We will create one like this for every single one of our students. Next, we need to go to the permissions at the top right here and share this specific course with our students' email. We're going to click on share here. And I'm going to type in my email just for this example. We also need to make sure that the student has full access or even just can edit. That's also good as well. So this will allow the student to select those checkboxes that we saw earlier and keep track of their progression system. Once you click invite, an email will be sent to your student's email, and then they can click on that and go to the course. The reason we share a course individually to each student like this is that we want the student to have control over the completion checkboxes throughout the course. So how Notion works is that a person needs to have edit rights to be able to change the property within the database. So if we give full access to a single student, they are able to check off when they complete a lesson. And this way we can track the overall completion of each student. So one instance of the course for each student. One final thing we can do is we can go into the view details here, and we have a property for person. So we can add in the person we just invited. Now, this won't do anything to the permissions of the page, but it's just helpful for us to know who we've shared the page with. So if we add Milo here, I know that I have shared this one instance of the course with Milo. If we come back to the main page here and we view the courses in the table view, we can see now that we have our Mastering Canva for Beginners is created here, and we can see that this instance has been shared with Milo. If we wanted to create a new course for a new student, we would do the exact same thing by clicking on the new course button here, clicking on Mastering Canva for Beginners. We would then share it again with another student's email, and then add the student by adding their email to the person property here. One last thing I'll show is how a student might progress through the course using the progression system. So let me pretend that I am a student. As I go through the lesson modules and then the individual lessons, I can click on a lesson here. Once I have done all of the lesson content, I can either click the checkbox at the top, or more easily, I could click the complete lesson button here. And that's it. I can go through all of the lessons doing the lesson content and then clicking on the complete lesson button. This will complete the lesson and put it in the completion section here. If we come back to the main page, we can see now that our Getting Started module has a completion bar. Here we have completed 2 of 3 lessons, and we can see that that results in 66%. If we look at the left here, we can also see that our lesson progression has gone up. Once we complete all of our lessons in a module, let's just demonstrate that here by clicking checkmark. We'll come back. We can see that now 3 of 3 lessons are completed, and on the left here, we can see 1 of 3 modules has been completed. All your student needs to do is go through the lessons and click on Complete Lesson. Then if we would like to see the progression of each of our students, we can go through each of the courses we have shared with each student and view their progression. Something to note about sharing courses in this way is that if we wanted to add more lesson material, well, you would add it to the Mastering Canva for Beginners template here, or the template of your course. However, it will not update the version that you have shared with the student, so you would need to give them a new version of your course. Other than that, that's how we can effortlessly create a course literally within minutes using the Notion Course Creator. If you are interested in using the Notion Course Creator, you can click the link in the description down below.